Welcome back. Mental health impacts every aspect of life, and it can be impossible to see a person's struggles just by looking at them. Today, we welcome author and U.S. Representative Adam Smith. Congressman, welcome. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate the chance.
Absolutely. Now, you have been a member of Congress for 26 years and the chair of the House Armed Services Committee for 4 years. That is successful by anyone's definition.
Right.
But talk to me about the way you were dealing with anxiety at that same time and why you felt that now was the right time to share that in a memoir.
Yeah, it was something that sort of, built up throughout my life. Well, I had things going on when I was younger that I didn't recognize as big a problems as they were. And then, well, in 2005, I had a massive anxiety attack that took me about 4 months to get over. Then it came back in 2013. And it was basically constant existential fear, and just the anxiety was overwhelming. And so I sought help, and it took me a long time to figure out what was wrong and how to deal with it. At the same time, I also had some chronic pain. I had 3 hip surgeries in the middle of all this. And so basically the book's about how I got there, how I got to the point, and then sort of how I found help on both the mental health and on the chronic pain side.
So, of course, we're seeing an image of the book right now called Lost and Broken: My Journey from Chronic Pain and Crippling Anxiety. So, obviously, what you were dealing with is just monumentous, and it really kind of has the ability to take a hold of your life.
Yeah.
What is it that you learned during that process about our nation's healthcare system?
It's very difficult to navigate, first of all. I think the biggest thing I learned is my initial impression here. So the anxiety hit, and I was like, I don't know what I'm dealing with here. But there are people who do know. So I will find one of them. They will tell me what's wrong with me. I will listen to it, and I will get better. It's a lot more complicated with that. First of all, diagnosing exactly what is the cause of your anxiety, or the cause of your chronic pain for that matter, very difficult. Treatment's very difficult, and healthcare providers do not communicate well. That's really what I learned. You really have to take responsibility for your own healthcare treatment. I wanted someone to fix me. I wanted them to say, you have to think about it, and you have to think about the providers you're seeking out. It's difficult to navigate, but the big message that I really want to drive home is help exists. You can get better, because for a huge chunk of this time, in fact, I was talking with, well, I was going to say a good friend of mine, my biological mother. That's a long story. I was adopted. That comes out in the book as part of what caused the problems. And she said, I was really worried about you during that time. I didn't think you were going to get past this. I didn't think you were going to get better. And a lot of people, I think that way. But if you are patient and persistent, help does exist.
That must have been so hard to hear. But talk to me about the importance of coming to the understanding or the acceptance that getting better is never a linear process.
Yeah. I laugh because I am an excessively logical person. That's the way I got a problem. I'm like, okay, here's the 10 steps to get there. And, and that's what I thought. I'm getting better, getting better. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes you go down a path, you get a little bit better, and you come back. I mean, I discovered that with medication. That's one of the other big things. I think we way over-prescribe medication for mental illnesses and for pain. It's not that in some instances they aren't important, but they can give you that short term, great, this is it, I'm fixed. And then a week later, you're worse. So yes, it is not a linear process, and you have to accept that. You are learning. That's what a good friend of mine said when I was expressing frustration. I did all this stuff, none of it works. He says, yes, but it helped. It helped because you learned what didn't work. And that is a data point, as he put it. I thought it was interesting because he was an EOD guy in the Army. He diffused bombs.
Wow.
And I was like, there's some times where you can't actually come back from a learned lesson in that field. But he's a very smart guy. So yes, it's not linear. You got to learn as you go. Learn what doesn't work as well as what does.
Both important things.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to ask you, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman recently spent some time in treatment for mental health challenges. Some people applauded that. Others used it as a way to attack him. So how did you feel watching this play out?
Yeah. No, I think it's really important to understand none of us are perfect. You need help is the bottom line. You know, and I think a lot of the reason why people, particularly in the mental health field, don't seek treatment in the first place is they're afraid if people find out about it, they're going to lose relationships, they're going to lose jobs. People are saying, well, we can't deal with someone who can't even get themselves straight here. We're all going to need help from time to time. You know, as a congressman, I've got a staff of, well, it's complicated, but like 45 or 50 people if you count the Armed Services Committee. Yeah, and some people go through things. And you got to help them in that time frame. It doesn't mean they can't do the job. It means that they need help in the short term to get to the place where they can get back to being able to do it. And you've got to have that balance and that help and support to help people. I think there's this assumption that there's something so bizarre if you've got a mental health problem that you're in some other special category. You know, we're all dealing with that, and we all need to help each other get through it.
Now, I have to know, during your experience, as it is ongoing, I'm certain, what is it that you wanted to hear from the people in your life that would have helped or made you feel better? Because I'm sure that there are family members watching right now that have a loved one who is struggling and they don't know how to help.
That's really difficult. I mean, the short answer is to understand. I mean, what you really want to hear is, I'm going to fix your problem. And obviously you can't do that. So I think the biggest thing is you just have to be patient and helpful. I can't give you a magic bullet. Sometimes, sometimes people want advice. It's like, you're like, okay, I went and saw this. I don't know if this is the right therapist for me. I'm not sure it's working. I'm not sure it's helpful. What do you think? Other times, and this is kind of cliche advice, other times they just need to vent and you just need to listen. There's nothing you can do about it. And that's really frustrating and difficult. And I think there's going to be a tendency to want to say, I have to help, I have to figure out, I have to tell you, you should do this, you should do that. A lot of times you just need someone to listen to you, because one of the other big lessons I learned about mental health, you have to be honest with yourself. And you have to have people in your life that you can tell the truth about. What are you angry about? What do you like? What don't you like? What's good about your life? What's bad about your life? Even if you can't necessarily fix it, you have to be able to be honest about it, because it's the lies we tell ourselves that get into you. And they're there. You may think you've buried them, but they come out in anxiety and depression. Psychotherapy works. I mean, being honest about what's really going on with you now and your views on your whole life, what your childhood was like, the profession you got into, the relationships you've had. Being able to be honest about that, being able to listen to someone in that situation is crucial.
Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this conversation today. And again, this is a candid memoir, Lost and Broken: My Journey Back from Chronic Pain and Crippling Anxiety. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the chance.
You can find more information on our website, fox13cl.com/studio13live. And